Hey mamas, I was like a couple of minutes late. I'll be honest, I was drinking my coffee. All right, this is mushroom coffee, but y'all know it's not really mushroom coffee. We hear that, we say it that way. It's coffee with like some stuff in it. It's really good. So I use the Four Sigmatic brand. I know there's other brands out there and they may be great too. Hey, Miss Linda, but this is just the one I use because my favorite health podcaster talks about it all the time. So that's what I went with. So this is Four Sigmatic. I think it's the Think. They have different ones that have different things in them. This isn't even what my video is about. I just wanted to let you know why I was late. This is, it's the one I get. It's little instant coffee, which I would hate instant coffee normally, but this is delicious. It's little instant coffee packets, like single serve, and they come in different formulations, got different things in them according to like what you're trying to work on or need. I just use all of them. Don't even ask me if I can tell it's helped me. I'm not that intuitive. Here's what I do know about it though. It does have some caffeine in it, although I think they have some that have half calf amounts. They probably have a decaf. You can buy the mushroom powder that has no caffeine or coffee in it and add it to a smoothie or your own coffee if you want to make like decaf. But this stuff, it's like, to me, the way I feel, hey, Miss Debbie, the way I feel about it, it's like it's a very gentle, like, okay, I had some coffee, I feel good, I've got some energy, but not like a buzz, not like a coffee high or a caffeine high, nothing like that. Now, having said that, I usually drink a cup about 10 a.m., maybe 11. I cut my coffee off. Sometimes I'll have a cup of caffeinated hot tea to close out lunch, but that's it. Like, I'm all about protecting my sleep, and you've got to cut that caffeine off way earlier than you might think, right? Okay, so that's what I was doing. Okay, let's talk about protein again, because if you're like me, you're still learning about it and trying to figure it out, and it's confusing because, and I think one reason it's confusing is because lots of foods have protein in them, not just meat or eggs or whatever, but, Melissa, I use Four Sigmatic. There's a reason they have the name of that company, and I just order it direct, but you probably can get it from Amazon, but direct is probably cheaper. I don't know. Actually, you know what, Melissa? You can get it at Sprouts. Now, not all of their products, but you can, if you just want to try it. I have seen it at Sprouts and Whole Foods. So I like it. It's very pleasant. It's different. It's like a fun little drink. So, but anyway, protein can be a little confusing because, we have lean and fatty protein, first of all. And so when you're increasing your protein, you can have both, but do keep in mind, fatty protein is going to have more calories. Calories count. They just do. And that stinks. I wish they didn't, but they do. So keep that in mind. Just keep that in mind. And of course, you can take a lean protein and you can cook it in extra fat, lots of fat, and that's going to increase the calories. And I'm not saying you shouldn't do that. I did that this morning, but just keep all that in mind a little bit when you're increasing your protein, okay? Definitely keep that in mind. But lots of foods have protein in them, but they're not complete protein. So for example, a handful of almonds has a little protein in it, but it's not a complete protein, okay? So just keep that in mind. We're really aiming for this challenge this week and next. We're aiming for complete protein. That means it has all the essential amino acids in it, whether it's lean or fatty. Definitely would probably want to focus on lean a bit more so you're not just really jumping up your calories too much, but have a mix, have what you enjoy. I know Mama Cherie was sharing that this is over in our membership group, so I don't know if she shared it here, but like you could take lean egg whites, fat-free egg whites, and add a whole egg or two to that, which adds a little bit of fat, but it sure does make those egg whites taste better. I am I don't love me some egg whites. They need help. That's what I was telling my membership mamas this morning. Egg whites need help. So we're going to help them along by maybe adding in a little crumbled sausage, right? Or adding in some bacon or adding in a whole egg. We might do that, right? And you might be one that loves egg whites. I do not. But I will use them. And I actually do enjoy them if I add a little something to go alongside with them. So this week we're focused on lunch. And I mentioned this before. We're focused on lunch this week, not because it's more important than breakfast. It's actually not. But I did feel like most of us, if we're not used to increasing our protein, hey Julie, if we're not used to increasing our protein, or we're still working on it, like that's me, I'm still getting there. I'm still getting there for sure. Lunch is a little easier because many of us don't love to eat huge meals in the morning. I've been that way for a long time. I've actually gotten better about that, and there's some reasons for that, and it's been really cool. And I've been on plan for 11 years, and it's only been in the last, I don't know, 3 or 4 months. Takes time, y'all. It's only been in the last 3 or 4 months that I'm like, yeah, I want a big breakfast. Isn't that interesting? But many of us don't love to eat heavy or big or a lot in the morning. But I do want to encourage you to start working towards making sure you're getting that protein in. It can still be a fuel pull breakfast if that's what you prefer. And it can still be a protein shake because that seems lighter, So it's not like it can't be. So definitely think outside the box. You don't have to eat eggs and bacon all the time, okay? You do not. You really shouldn't eat the same thing all the time. But I started with lunch because I felt like that was a little easier for us to wrap our brain around. Also, a lot of y'all, tell me I'm wrong. A lot of y'all, the idea of eating chicken or salmon or tuna at breakfast just wigs you out, but you'll eat it at lunch. Am I right? Right? We need to stop thinking about breakfast foods, lunch foods. Just eat food. Eat whatever you want. Eat whatever's left over. It does not matter. But I know that's weird. Eating some of my mamas that have been with me for a long time, they're like, yeah, I had sardines for breakfast today. And some of y'all be like, what? But no, you can eat sardines for breakfast too. I'm not going to make you. And, I don't anticipate. So this is just the first of 6 free challenges this year in this group. I don't anticipate on having a fish for breakfast challenge. I don't think so. But never know. 2025, who knows what I'll do. But do think about that. You can eat whatever you want for breakfast. Don't eat the same protein every day though. Because one thing, you get different nutrients and mineral profiles and all that stuff. You get different things from different types of food and whether it's protein or not. But also, you can develop a sensitivity to a food if you overdo it. And I don't just mean eat too much of it. I mean like day, every day you're eating the same stuff. So I don't want you to have that. I've had friends that's happened to them, especially with eggs or egg whites. So I don't want that to happen to you. So vary your protein sources. Number 1, vary your protein sources. Think outside the box. We're starting with lunch because that seems a little easier. Like we'll eat fried eggs for lunch, but we might not want to eat salmon for breakfast. But don't be afraid to break out that mold a little bit and just eat whatever you got on hand. That really opens up a lot. Hey, Amy, that opens up so many possibilities when you do that. It doesn't need to just be eggs every day, okay? The other thing I was thinking about, and I know this isn't true for everyone, but I figured that starting with lunch to increase our protein might be a little easier because you're probably eating lunch kind of like on your own. Either whether you're packing it for work or whatever, but you might have to feed other people for breakfast before they go out for the day or before you go out for the day. But I figure lunch, you're probably kind of on your own a little bit more, okay? But breakfast is really key. I'm just going to go ahead. Here comes that cat's driving me crazy, ladies. She's driving me nuts. but she's back in. But see, the door is open, so she can get out. During the last video, she couldn't get out, and I was like, I'm just going to let her sit there and be trapped. She can't make up her mind what she wants to do. So that's why we're doing that. But I do want to encourage you next week for breakfast. If you need some ideas, if you need breakfast ideas, you can get some in that free protein guide. And if you don't have the free protein guide yet, it is, I think there's still a post up in the pinned featured post. I did clean those up yesterday a little bit because they had kind of collected some dust up in there in the pinned featured post. So I think I've cleaned up the pinned featured post and gotten things into guides. I did realize that I've done several teaching videos about protein, and they've gotten organized into guides that might not be as easy for you to find those. So I'm going to try to work on that this week because I've done several. Now, here's what I want you to know. Here is why we're focused on protein right now. There's a couple of reasons. Number one, as I've been focused on increasing my protein I'm aiming for 30 grams every time I eat, okay? And you could do more. Maybe I even should do more, but 30's a stretch for me personally, knowing that I was just aiming for 20 before, okay? And just wrapping my mind and my taste buds and my stomach and eyeballs around how much protein that is, I was like, 30's good. 30 is a good spot. Hey, Eileen. But we're doing that because I realized that when I thought I was getting enough protein, I wasn't even getting close. And I shared this with my membership mamas. I don't know. I'm not a counter. I've never counted calories. Don't really plan on it. Don't want to. I've not really counted stuff very much. I go by the THM serving sizes of carbs or fat and just kind of like go with that. And that's okay, except that for some reason, I thought that 2 eggs was plenty of protein for breakfast. 2 eggs is like 10 to 12 grams of protein, y'all. 2 eggs. That's not a lot. Like, that is not even 20 grams, y'all. I thought 2 eggs was plenty until like not long ago. That's not good. And the idea, every once in a while I've tried to eat 3 eggs. I just can't, I can't do 3 eggs. But what I can do is 2 eggs with some egg whites all together. I can do that. Something about 3 egg yolks, I can't do it. Now, if you can do it, that's great. But think about it. 3 eggs, that's still only 15 grams of protein. 4 eggs, that's still only 20. 5 eggs, that's still only 25. Can you imagine eating like 6 eggs? I cannot. I can't do that. I don't want to do that. So what does that mean? Well, what that means is we need to really take a hard look at how much protein is in our meals. And yes, it does need to come from animals. Okay, it does need to be complete protein coming from animal sources. That could be Greek yogurt or cottage cheese or eggs. It can be dense meat, fish, whatever. But take a look at that. And it might be like me, what I have done is I still just do the 2 eggs. Maybe I add some egg whites. Maybe I add some sausage or bacon or lean Canadian ham or something like that. Or maybe I add a protein shake. But take a look at your protein powder. Even if it's whey protein powder, you know, you're coming in at 16 to 20 grams of protein. Still not enough. Isn't that that's eye-opening? So that is what I'm hoping for all of us over this next week or two, is that as you're being forced to kind of take a moment and calculate, and I know that ain't fun. I don't like calculating either. I don't like it. But, you know, we tend to eat the same meals over and over again. Like, we tend to eat the same 5 to 10 breakfast, 5 to 10 lunch. We have our little toolbox of dinners. So think about it this way. Once you take the time over this next couple of weeks to slow down and calculate the breakfast and lunch, you're going to have a solid toolbox of 5 breakfasts and 5 lunches that you know hits that 30 grams minimum of protein, okay? And then you can just repeat, swap things out, things like that. That's going to really set you up where you don't have to keep calculating all the time. Does that make sense? Because we really do eat the same stuff over and over again. I mean, we might break out a new recipe sometimes, but this is going to give you a really good sense of, well, how much does 30 grams of protein look like? And so down the road, like maybe you're out to eat, you're at somebody else's house, you just don't want to slow down to count. Down the road, then you'll know, oh, okay, I need to order or buy or put together about this much protein to get close to that goal or around that goal. Progress over perfection, right? We're not trying to be perfect of 30 grams every time. One meal might have 32, the next one might have 28, whatever. We're just trying to get close. But that's going to give you a really good sense of, oh, okay, if I want to eat lean egg whites for protein for breakfast, I'm going to need like a whole cup, not just 3 tablespoons or 1/4 a cup. I'm going to need to scramble up a whole cup of egg whites. Or, again, less egg whites, more of some other protein. That can work too. So that's a big part of what we're doing here, is to really make us notice. And then by, like any challenge I do here, I'm asking you to share in a photo what you've eaten, and I want you to share your calculation. We're building a resource. Isn't that awesome? We're building a resource together of breakfasts and lunches. And of course, a lot of those lunches could be eaten for supper. And who don't eat breakfast for supper sometimes, right? So we are building a resource together that we can all refer back to and scan those photos and like, ooh, that looks good. I want to make that. How many protein? Ooh, 35 grams of protein. I'm going to make that. And you can usually tell by the photo what they had, what the mama had, or maybe they'll share the recipe or whatever, or you could even reply to it. It will tag that mama and you can ask, but we're building a resource. Isn't that awesome? We're building a resource, and like you're calculating 5 breakfast and 5 lunch. So is everyone else. But then once we've all calculated it, I don't have to calculate what you ate. I can just look at it and say, okay, I'm going to make that. It's got 32 grams. Awesome. See what I'm saying? That's pretty exciting. And so I have a protein guide that I created for our group. It's in the guides. And so down the road, when you want to refresh on the protein teaching, or if you just want to get some breakfast ideas that are protein rich or lunch ideas, you'll be able to go back and look at that. All these posts will be organized into that guide, and you can just very quickly see. So that's pretty awesome. Now, that's the big thing. Second to that is like, but why? But why protein? Why are we doing this? Why are we hearing about it all over the place? Okay. So I have been digging into that. I've been listening to a lot of different doctors and health podcasters that have been around for decades talking about it for months now. My dear friend gave me Dr. Gabrielle Lyons' book. She is the expert. Like, that gal is the protein and muscle expert. And her book is called Forever Strong. And so I do highly recommend it. I'm almost done with it. Highly recommend it if you really want to dig into this topic of protein and muscle building and all the whys. And also, you know, what's going on here and why are we needing to focus on this and stuff. But but at the end of the day, probably most of us here are desiring to knock off a few more pounds. Most of us here are probably, maybe we're stuck, or maybe we've had success with losing weight, 5-10 years ago, but now it's not coming off. And one of the things that we can do and that we need to know is that starting at about age 30, we naturally start losing lean muscle mass. It's part of the aging process. Okay, that's just something that happens. We start losing lean muscle mass around age 30. And when that happens, our bodies, and of course our estrogen starts dropping, around age 40 or so. Our estrogen starts dropping slowly. It doesn't just drop, but that starts happening at the same time. And then what happens is our body becomes more and more insulin resistant, just not as able to handle blood glucose in our body as well, okay? That's a whole nother topic in a way, but yet it's not, but it kind of is. But what I want you to know is that because we start losing lean muscle so early, then when we hit our 40s and beyond, it starts feeling like, because it looks this way, it starts feeling like our bodies are just putting on fat, right? It just seems like it's happening that way because it kind of is, but that's not actually what's going on. What's actually going on is our muscles are becoming less and less good at managing and handling the glucose that's running around, okay? So if at age 40, you eat a certain way, and then at age 50, you try to still eat that same way, your body may not handle it very well. It may not handle it the same. It may have worked when you were 40, but at 50, it ain't working no more. And that has to do with your muscles because you keep losing that, your lean muscle mass. Your muscles become less and less good at handling the glucose and managing it. And so there's some things you can do about that. Number one, increasing your protein to build up those muscles, okay? And that's even if, or I shouldn't even say even, that's especially if you're wanting to lose weight. Increasing your protein to build up those muscles, and the other side of the coin is the strength training, okay? If you are a cardio bunny, if you love being on that treadmill for an hour a day, that's great. You can still do that. But you're not protecting or building your muscles when you're doing that, okay? So I'm not saying that you shouldn't do cardio. If you enjoy it and love it, it has great benefit. I love in Dr. Gabrielle Lyon's book, she definitely talks about low intensity cardio and high intensity cardio. She talks about including it, but she talks about the imperativeness of, is that a word, imperativeness? I don't know. She talks about how important it is that we must strength train 2 to 3 days a week, building our muscles so that our muscles can handle the glucose, okay? So that is what we're doing here. We don't want to be insulin resistant. And if we are, we want to reverse that. It's reversible, y'all. It's pretty exciting. We can reverse our insulin resistance. But we have to be intentional about that. And there's some different ways to do that, but the ones that we're hitting right now is increasing that protein to support and build lean muscle and working our muscles, training them and making them stronger so that they can better handle the glucose that is floating around in our bloodstream so that we are lowering insulin resistance, okay? So that is what we're doing, and that's why we're doing it. I'm very excited y'all are joining me because it just makes it more fun. Let's be honest. It makes it more fun, but we're building that resource. And this is still pretty new for me too. I'm still working on increasing my protein. I don't always hit the 30 grams at all. I'm still working on it, but I can tell you this, I am closer than I was 4 months ago to increasing my protein, and I'm becoming more aware of just how lacking I was when I wasn't paying attention and I wasn't taking the time. You know, once you've calculated something, you don't have to calculate it again. And so, for example, I love a good protein shake. Love a good protein shake. I really do. I've been doing protein shakes since I was about 20, back in the old days. And I was just recently looking at the protein powder and I'm like, 16 grams of protein, that ain't even 20, that like, what? What? That's nowhere near enough. So what did I do? I doubled it. I doubled the serving of the protein. And this was not the THM optimized, so I'm not talking about that one. I'm talking about the one I've been using for a while. But and I do like the THM optimized, but I don't have any right this minute. But I was like, what am I going to do? Well, there's some different things I could have done there, but I just doubled it. So I could get closer to that 30 gram. It still wasn't perfect, but it was more than I was doing because I thought one serving size was enough. It ain't. But knowledge is power. And I think it's really important that we all are aware of what we're eating and what we're lacking in and what we're not getting and what we can do about that, okay? And I'm going to leave you with this, okay, mamas, on the strength training things. Some of y'all, you're not ready to do that. Like you're not there yet for whatever reason. Maybe you've got a lot of stress going on in your life and your cortisol is high and you don't need to push it, okay? You need to rest and you need to sleep and all those kind of things. Maybe you have injuries or things you need to heal from. That's way more important at this time. That won't be forever, but that is for a season, okay? Been there, done it on both of those. Trust me. I totally get it. But when you're ready to begin strength training, please, please, please start where you are and be excited about that. And if starting at 3 pounds or 5 pound weights is what you need to do, then do it. Don't we all start there? I know I did. We all start at the beginning and we build up. And if your building up is slower than someone else is building up, so what? It's your journey, it's your life, it's your body. You got to protect it and take care of it and make sure you don't injure it and do it at a level that's going to work for you that you can do consistently. That is so important. So don't ever be afraid to tweak a workout. And don't ever feel like you need to apologize for posting, your workout and you only use 5 pound weights. Please don't say the word only. Can we ban that word? I want to ban it. Let's ban the word only. Please don't say that. Are you kidding me? No, don't say only. You be proud of that, okay? That is a big deal because showing up and working out and starting the lifting weights or resistance bands, you're doing more than most people. You are literally doing more than most mamas, and that is a big deal. So be excited about that. Be proud of that, and don't say the word only. Let's just not say that word, okay? Or if you say it, put it in quotation marks for me, okay? So that we all know that you know better, right? Okay, oh, I know it, Shannon, it's a terrible word. So we'll say only maybe, but are you kidding? No way. Okay, mamas, I hope that was helpful. I appreciate y'all doing this challenge. And some of y'all been here for a while. Some of y'all are new, so extra welcome to the new people. And I want to tell you real quick before I let you go, the way I do my challenges, the more you do it, the better for you. It just gives you more information and feedback for your own journey. But guess what? If you have mama friends and they're talking about this and they're confused or they're wanting some examples, maybe they just want to be a lurker and get ideas and they don't even want to do it yet, invite them in, please. It is okay if a mama jumps into this challenge next Thursday or this Thursday or whatever. It doesn't matter. It really doesn't. So don't ever feel like it's too late, and don't ever feel like that even if you're not ready to do it, you can't learn or glean. I do think taking action is the best way to jump in and get it, but there's value too for sitting back and observing if maybe you're not ready yet. That's okay too. So please participate as much as you can. Invite your mama friends because sharing really is caring. All this protein talk and all this muscle talk, it's pretty new for me, but it's pretty amazing and excited. I use, and back to the mushroom, I use Four Sigmatic. Like they spell the word out for Four. But I know there's other brands. I just haven't used them. They're probably great too. I know there's some other ones. I just really like it. And I enjoy it. It's like my little splurge. I don't buy coffee drinks out at cafes. I mean, I might buy a cup of coffee, but I don't buy coffee drinks. I don't spend the money on that. So this is like my little splurge. It's like my bubble bath. I don't do bubble baths. It's my bubble bath. It's my manicure. How about that? It's my little splurge. Does that make sense? Okay, mamas, thanks for joining me in the protein challenge. I hope this was helpful. As you watch this, if you would comment, you can just say, hey, if you want to, or replay. It does help bump this video into our group's newsfeed so that mamas who maybe couldn't see this live will notice it and watch it later. Because I really want you to be equipped on this protein thing. I want to clear the cobwebs. It's confusing. It's been really confusing for me, but I think I'm getting there. I think. So I hope that was helpful. All right. Bye, ladies.